Okay, we're gonna play with this little circuit board today. This is for a 1A 3B Snes cartridge, which looks like this. It's an older style cartridge. It has a maximum of 1 megabyte for ROM, and this is for 64K. So if you notice the information there says 1A3B. Okay, so the 3 means it's 64K SRAM, A means it's low map, 1 means there's only one mask ROM, and the B means there's no MAD1 decoder chip. This is so it uses a standard, off the shelf 139, 74LS 139, so for a decoder. And so these are generally the pariahs of people that mod, actual carts, just because they're so limited on what they can do. But really, they're not as bad as you would think or seem. And the hard gold edge connectors is a real plus. And so, anyways, I'm going to go over just a quick how to and what to video on this. So I've already taken a few steps, like I've taped off the edge connector and then scraped the little green solder mask off and put a little solder blob there, because that's the only place where we're going to run a jumper wire, from the connector. And so, and then I put a little piece of tape here to cover this little via here. Got a Sharpie kind of showing which one, but so instead of soldering to this pin, which I've done in previous videos, this pin goes to this via, so it's just a little cleaner. It's a little easier, just to stick your wire in that hole. So. Also, in the plastic shell, it's got little supports, one right here, and one right here. So we'll want to make sure that we avoid these areas, and we will. So, and then one reason why this has this little slot in the middle. Come on, focus. There's a little hole right here. And that's just to avoid pitfalls. And so the shape of this was actually designed to mate up with a different ROM adapter, but it's good enough for what we're going to do today. So anyways, but what this will allow us to do is we'll be able to make this cartridge either a 4 megabyte high map or low map. And then we'll program it with, with my programmer, so that I've showcased on previous videos, and so, but this is the adapter. So also what we're going to want to do is, like for example, I'm using my mask ROM adapter, and we're gonna, because it has exposed copper on both sides. You notice that on this cart, we've got all these solder vias that have, solder balls on them, especially here. Well, right here. I mean, these are the ones that would get exposed the most. And in fact, if you were to put this mask ROM adapter directly on top, just put it on, lay it down flat, then it would definitely short out with some of these pads in the bottom. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of Captain tape on this, and I've already cut a piece. So I'm just going to put this tape down. Just so it covers up those potential short places where it would short. Okay. And then I'm going to put this down. Now normally there's a couple of capacitor legs that stick through here and here. And I usually trim these things off just like I trim off the ones down here. But if you notice that the capacitor leg will actually sit above this little cut, and then one will actually, oops, can't see that, can you? One will actually sit above this point here, and the other one will sit through this hole here. So, okay. So anyways, and this piece of tape here is to kind of help with some of the solder kind of flow through. So I'm going to move this just because this right here, this via right here is the one we're going to tap on the other side. So anyway, so some of these boards from the factory, they bend these pins down like the corner pins. So you might have to straighten the pins, but for the most part, and again, this has kind of a layer of silk to help with the insulation. But so anyways, you might have to do a little cleanup or a little straightening. What I like to do is I like to have a little bit of a gap underneath. And so that's what I'm gonna just, in fact, I'll just stick this resistor leg under here to give it just a little bit of elevation. So. And put one under this side. So again, we're just super sensitive about creating any shorts underneath. Now this one shouldn't, just because there aren't any big solder globs underneath, but I'm overly cautious. These are just regular logic chips. Two of them are decoders, the 139s, and then the other one is a selector. So right now I've got it selected on high. So right here is your selection right there, where it says high and low. So I've got it selected on high, so it'll be in high map mode. Okay. So I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to just, even though I've got the Kapton tape on there, I'm just going to give it just a little bit of elevation out of an abundance of caution. So okay, and then this side, I'm going to again elevate it just a little bit. once these are ready for soldering, then I'll just run down the row. Okay. So just going to quickly solder these and then move on. Okay. All right, so now I've just got some resistors with real thin legs, and so I'm just going to use these for the jumpers. So okay, so this goes to 21 and 21 is right here. Yeah, if it's just one thing I can't stand is a big rat's nest of wires. I want everything to be nice and clean and orderly. So I just really want to avoid a big old rat's nest. So okay. And this one's for 20. Hope you can see this. So on a previous video, I kind of showcased the 1A3B with a different adapter, or a different decoder adapter, I guess you could call it. And so this one's just a little different. All right, so on my ROM adapter, I've got pins or addresses 13 and 14, little holes here for them, but all they do is they just connect to pins 13 or 14, whichever one those are. And so that just makes it a little easier, a little cleaner, you know, just to tap on. And so here's 13. Yeah, come on. It's so short that it melts the other side. Heat just travels right down it. All right, one more. This is 14. So these two are essential for the SRAM enabling. All right, All right, so those are done. Just want to be careful about this one in the corner that you don't short it to the jumper. All right, and we got one more for to make the programmer device work, and that's the right enable. It's this one right here. So I'm going to solder this one on. And this is just the SRAM right enable. So I know this is off camera, sorry. Okay, so I just kind of bent that wire so it would go in the hole and between those two legs. All right, so I'm going to solder this one. Okay, redo that one. All right, so that'll make the programmer work. And set to high map. Okay, we have to disable the ROM, the mask ROM. We basically have to turn it off. So we're going to cut that, and then we're going to kind of bend it over. And we're going to solder this one. All right, so that's done. That disables the ROM. That turns it off. Now, also, if you notice, I replaced these electrolytic capacitors that are normally here with surface mount ones. So, normally, it comes with, this electrolytic, and this one. But, what are they, 40 years old? So, time for new ones. All right, here is the absolute last step. So, I've already cut a little piece of wire, and I'm going to solder that wire on that point here. I'm going to put it on that via that I showed you earlier with the arrow. So, and then another thing I like to do is I like to kind of reduce the footprint. So I'm going to go between these two legs here. Just because I kind of like to hide it. A little stealthy, almost. Okay. So this wire here is going to get connected to this point here. And then this other end of here is going to get soldered to that blob there. So it's a real thin wire, but it does the job just right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut. We have to cut 4 pins of this part here because this is the decoder, and the decoder, it runs, it has pathways that go to this chip, and the edge connector, and so we can't cut it off because it, well, I mean, I suppose you could, but there's no need to. So we're going to cut pins 4 so 4. 4, 7, and 9. Okay, so 4, 7. Come on. So you just want to make sure that the little legs that you're cutting, you know, don't short to something like that resistor. Okay, and then number 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? Let me check. Yeah, 4, 7, and 9. So the reason why we're cutting 4, 7, and 9 is these are the outputs that are used. We don't care about the input connections because they're inputs. So we're cutting 4, 7, and 9. And, you know, if you want to clean it up a little bit, then you can, you can break them off, where they're flush, where they're not there. So. Okay, so like 4, 7, and 9. So here's number 9. All right. So 4, 7, and 9 are cut, and this wire here, well, this trace connects to here. Now, the original decoding, this pin 7 is connected to pin 15. Okay, and so what we're doing is we're using pin 15 as a throughput, as just a connection point. So the wire comes up here and connects to pin 15, which is that via. And that is just our pathway to get that signal, to the decoder, to all this. So, all right, so this should be ready. Soldered, cut, yeah, all right. Okay, so. Oops. All right, so got my programmer here. And I'll put that in. Turn it on. All right, so delete, yes. So the programmer, because it's a low map part, a lot of these, address pins, wouldn't line up, natively, because anything above A15 gets shifted over on a low map game, which is what this game is, low map. Well, was what the card is. The so if we switch it to low map, then everything should be pretty linear. Now just off the screen, here, I'll grab the phone. So again, I'm just gonna grab Earthbound here. So drop it on. So while we're waiting for that to program, one thing I do want to say is that the 1A3B-12-10-1, whatever, the only exception to this is 1A3B-20. The 20 is a different revision where it natively can do 4 megabyte games. And so the decoder is pinned differently. So this adapter that I just soldered on is only good for 1A3B dash anything below 20. So dash 1, 3, whatever, just not 20. So that's very important. Because the dash 20 can already do 4 megabytes, and it's different how it connects. So Earthbound is a high map game, 64K SRAM, and okay, so Earthbound. But let's say I want to change it to a low map game. So I'm gonna change that solder there. We'll see if I can do this one-handed. Oh, man, it's ugly. Here, I'll just... The video will just be messed up here, but... All right, so I've changed it to low map. Hopefully you can see that. Come on. Yeah, and so also if you notice, the camera keeps shutting off. It's very annoying. All right, so also if you notice right here where that hole is in the circuit board, so this right here is where that capacitor on the board, it's this one. So I put that hole there just to prevent any, conflicts or shorts or whatever. So, and then this black circle, that's the internal, case. So you have to stay out of that area. Anyways, okay, so it's on low map, and we're gonna and see it shows low map right there. See, so the programmer automatically recognizes it. So we're just gonna delete this one. It's like the 5th time my phone is turned off on recording. This is really getting irritating. But okay, so when it's erasing, the USB window goes away. But then as soon as it's done erasing, the window will reset. And so now Super Metroid, see, there's the window. So Super Metroid is a low map game. So we're gonna grab it, drop it on. So we're gonna let it do its thing, and then we're gonna try it out and see. So I used to really just hate these boards, these 1A3Bs, but you know, with that one little jumper wire, and of course the the adapters on the back, I mean, you would have to put an adapter on the back anyways, just to change it to a different 1 megabyte game, if you were to modify this. But the fact that you can do a high map game, I think it's pretty cool. So anyways, those lines 13 and 14, those address lines, those are only for high map, by the way. Low map, it doesn't need that at all. So I suppose if you were to just do low map, then you wouldn't need to put those two little jumper lines. And then of course, if you're just doing a 2 megabyte game, then you wouldn't need the A21 either. Just the one A20. So there's that. Okay, looks like it's done. Okay, so let's pull this out and put it in. And look at that. It's Super Metroid. So, and again, the save feature works. That's the back of it. Oops. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. So just kind of recap, that one little jumper there that makes the programmer work. Those two holes there on the end, 1 and 2, they're empty, but that's because those two jumpers there, 20 and 21, same things, those. So you don't have to run anything over there because they're right there at the edge. 13 and 14, that's only for high map SRAM games. So, and then that's it. And then your select feature is low and high. That's it. You can also have an external, you could tack something on there, the select there, and you could have it like on a toggle switch or something. You could, have a toggle switch up on top of your cart. Flip it back and forth for whatever. Of course, you'd have to reprogram it, but so anyway, so I just wanted to kind of talk about this thing a little more. So got to disable the ROM. You got to run this jumper wire, and that's for both low and high map games. And then that. So you could use a different version of this. It would just be messier, but there's nothing going on here other than you have a ROM, and then you just you have just easy points to tap onto. There's no other logic chips on here. Also, if you notice on my adapter here, this hole here, that's where like a capacitor leg would stick through. So, so that's also kind of keeping things out of harm's way. Because here's the other capacitor leg here. So this board was designed with a lot of purposes, and and you can see that it just misses the slot in the cart. So there's no issue there. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, I think it's kind of neat. But and then replacing the electrolytic capacitors with surface mount ones should let this thing run for a long time. Now what I'll probably do is I'll go back and I'll put like just a dab of epoxy, like right here, just to keep this thing from vibrating loose or something. You know, and I might put a dab of epoxy here as well, just to shore things up. So, but that's it.